Hello guys and welcome to my chapter review for chapter 269 of Tokyo Revengers. And the title for chapter 269 is called, All Things Must Pass. And in this chapter we will finally get to see the backstory of Shinichiro Sano. In the last chapter we learned from Mikey that Shinichiro is actually a time leaper just like Takemichi, and Shinichiro went back in time in order to try to save Mikey. In these next few chapters we will learn a lot of new information about Shinichiro, and I think that we will get to see how Shinichiro got his time-leaping powers, and I think we will also get to see who his trigger is. In this chapter we get to see the very first original timeline of the story, and this chapter starts off with the backstory of Shinichiro. Shinichiro is riding his motorcycle, and Mikey is riding on the back, and Shinichiro is also with all the members of the first generation of Black Dragons. We also see that Takomi, Wakasa, and Benkei are riding with Shinichiro, and Shinichiro is riding at the front of the pack. And when Wakasa and Benkei are riding with Shinichiro, they both look very happy, and they make fun of Shinichiro for bringing his little brother to their gang's final meeting. While Mikey is riding on the back of Shinichiro's bike, Mikey tells Shinichiro that he wants a fast bike too, but Shinichiro responds by telling Mikey that he is way too young to have his own motorcycle. And then Mikey says that he will surpass Shinichiro and become an even better delinquent than he is. We know that Shinichiro is basically the person who raised Mikey since he was a child, and Shinichiro is also Mikey's role model. So Mikey has always looked up to Shinichiro, and he wants to become like his older brother. Next the chapter switches to the meeting of the first generation Black Dragons, and we see that everyone has arrived at the meeting. And Shinichiro is standing at the top of a vehicle and he is getting ready to address his gang. And then Shinichiro suddenly announces to everyone that the first generation of the Black Dragons gang will be disbanded. And Shinichiro says that the next generations will be handled by the juniors of the gang, and he wishes them good luck. Shinichiro does not like that this is such a sad situation, so he says that he wants to say one more thing. And then Shinichiro starts crying, and he tells his gang that he is extremely proud to have spent his teen years with the members of the first generation. He tells everyone to take pride in the fact that they fought with the first generation of Black Dragons, and no matter how hard the times will be to always remember this moment. And then he tells his gang to live with their heads held high. Wakasa, Benkei, and Takomi all started crying when they heard this announcement, and we can tell that they are also very sad that the Black Dragons are getting disbanded. We also see that Mikey is blushing, and we can tell that he is very impressed with his older brother. All of the members of the Black Dragons also started crying, and they all raised their fists in the air and started cheering for their gang. Next the chapter switches to sometime after the disbandment of the Black Dragons, and we see that Shinichiro is visiting his father's gravesite. Shinichiro sits down at his father's grave, and then he starts talking to his father. And Shinichiro says that Mikey is growing up to be an even greater person than he is. And Shinichiro makes a promise to his father, and in this promise he says that he will make sure that Mikey will grow up to be a fine person, and he tells his father not to worry because he will take care of both Mikey and Emma in his place. We can see that Shinichiro has a great sense of responsibility to raise his little siblings and to protect his family, and we can see that he is someone who loves and cares for his family very much. While he is walking back home from his father's grave, Shinichiro decides to go buy a gift for Mikey and Emma. And he decided to get a Concorde toy plane for Mikey and a teddy bear for Emma. When Mikey saw the Concorde jet that Shinichiro gave him, he became very excited, and his facial expression is very happy. Mikey was very pleased with his new gift and he said thank you to Shinichiro for giving it to him. The chapter then skips to a month later, and Shinichiro is working at a bike shop, and Shinichiro suddenly gets a phone call from his grandfather, and his boss says that his grandfather is in a real panic. When he gets on the phone to talk to his grandfather, Shinichiro finds out that Mikey has fallen unconscious and he is in critical condition. Mikey was playing with his toy airplane, but he accidentally fell down the stairs. Shinichiro immediately leaves to run to the hospital, and when he gets there he sees Mikey, and Mikey is hooked up to many machines, and he has bandages wrapped all over his body. Mikey is in a horrible condition, and he still has not regained consciousness. We also see Baji, Sanzu, and Senju, and they are all crying, and all of them look extremely sad. We know that all four of these kids would always play together, and they are all friends in this timeline. And also in this timeline we can see that Sanzu does not have the scars on his face. So in this timeline it looks like Sanzu's character went down a completely different path. The doctor informs Shinichiro that Mikey's body is in a vegetative state, his body is still working fine, however his brain is not working, and he is completely brain dead. When Shinichiro got back to his grandfather's house he started crying when he is all alone, and he got the toy airplane, and then he threw the plane on the ground. He then started stomping on the plane while calling it stupid. He kept repeating that the plane is such a stupid thing while he completely destroys the plane by stomping on it, and this whole time Shinichiro has tears streaming down his face. We can see a lot of parallels between Mikey and Shinichiro. For example, just like Mikey, Shinichiro did not cry in front of other people in the hospital, and he waited until he was by himself to start crying about Mikey's injury. And Mikey did this same exact thing after the death of Shinichiro, and Mikey waited until he was alone to cry all by himself, and he also did this after the death of his mother. And also Mikey and Shinichiro both stand at the highest point at their hideout when they are leading their gangs. And they both ride at the top of the pack when they are riding motorcycles with their gang. Anyway guys, the chapter skips to some time later when Mikey is out of the hospital, and Shinichiro is pushing Mikey's wheelchair, and they are walking through a park. Shinichiro still talks to Mikey even though Mikey can't respond, and he tells Mikey that it is a great day out today, and it is perfect weather for a walk. And while he is pushing Mikey on the wheelchair, Shinichiro just says, "Manjiro." We can see that Shinichiro has been caring for Mikey all this time, and he has even been talking to him, and taking him out for walks even though Mikey has lost all self-awareness. This is a very sad moment, because we can see how much Shinichiro cares for his little brother, and he dropped everything in his life to become Mikey's caretaker, and we can see that he misses Mikey very much. Shinichiro is the person who raised Mikey after the death of their mother, so Mikey's terrible condition is a very hard thing for Shinichiro to witness. Shinichiro then continues talking to Mikey, and he says that it's been 4 years since his accident, and he is already a middle schooler. And the chapter ends with this scene of Shinichiro pushing Mikey's wheelchair, and we can also see that Mikey's eyes have gone completely white, and they look very similar to how his eyes look when he is in his dark impulse mode. Anyway guys, before I end this video, I want to share a theory made by Hanma Time Leaper on Twitter. After Mikey's accident, we know that Shinichiro wants to save Mikey at any cost. So what if in this moment he meets a mysterious person who can change time? In this theory, the person will give Shinichiro the power to time leap in order to fix his sins, but in exchange for saving Mikey, he will be exposed to death in the future. Shinichiro made a deal with this mysterious Shinigami who can control time, and he time leaped in order to complete his goal of saving Mikey. Due to the original timeline being changed, Mikey was saved, however in exchange Shinichiro died in Mikey's place. Shinichiro's biggest sin was his will to change the past, and his punishment was his death, and the death of everyone in the current timeline. The hand symbolizes the deal that was made, because in Tokyo Revengers the hands are the symbol of time leaping. Sin and punishment are the two tattoos that are on Hanma's hands. After all, Hanma is the ruler of the hand called destiny. So the sin tattoo symbolizes Shinichiro's will to change the past, and the punishment tattoo symbolizes Shinichiro's punishment, which is his death, and the death of everyone in the current timeline. In the next few chapters we will probably see how Shinichiro became a time leaper, and I am really looking forward to this. I also really think that Hanma has something to do with this, so I am also looking forward to seeing if this theory will come true. Anyway guys, that was it for my chapter review of chapter 269 of Tokyo Revengers. Also let me know what you guys think of the chapter in the comments below. And like, comment and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one, and thank you for watching.